This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clarke. Q104.3.
Jonathan Clarke, we are live in the studio with the Cranberries. It's Noel Hogan and Fergal Lawler. Mike is not here, unfortunately, but next time we'll get Mike in the studio with us. Well, welcome, guys. Good to see you guys again. I'm so happy to hold this up to your fans watching right now. It's the new album. It's called In the End. It's technically, is it the 8th studio album, technically?
Yeah.
And it's coming out April 26th. So we spoke earlier this week, and I know I've told you this before, but this album is fantastic. It is really, really amazing. And I feel like if this album came out in 1993, it would be just as big as your debut album or even the second album.
Yeah. I think we feel pretty much the same way, that it's probably as close to those first couple of albums that we've ever come again, because I think a lot of it's to do with the way Dolores' vocal is on this album. It's there's a softer kind of tone to her voice. A lot of that, I suppose, is because she recorded at home in one of the rooms in the house, because it was for demos initially, and when we went in to record it, we kind of very much used that as the benchmark to follow her vocal, and not kind of, you can get heavy-handed sometimes live or in the studio. But it started to take on that sound of those earlier albums, that kind of where it wasn't as aggressive. There's a bit more space in there. But it's like those first albums, but played a lot better.
Yeah. Well, you guys have all grown, and she had grown as a lyricist and as a singer, and you guys have grown musically as well. Talk about that timeline again, because I know fans are really interested in that. When was this? Where was she? Where were you when you guys were actually making these demos?
So it began, we kind of finished up a tour a bit earlier than we should have.
2017?
17, yeah.
Okay.
We finished in May because Dolores' back was at her. She had this kind of ongoing problem. The doctor said she needed to rest for 6 months. About a week or two later, Dolores kind of got itchy feet and wanted to work, and started ringing up saying, we need to do something. We need to, we should use the time basically and write this album, or write a album, not knowing what one it would be. And that's what happened. At that time, I was actually in France, and Dolores was here in New York.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were kind of, you'd write an idea and then you'd send it to her, and then she'd send back like with a guide vocal on top of it. And this went on for a few weeks, and then took a kind of a little break for maybe, August, and then got back into it. I was back in Ireland then at this point, and kept going really up until December of that year. And that was like, a lot of this album was written during that period. There's a few songs there that Dolores had kind of had before that she had been kind of demoing herself, which is kind of the normal way we would do it. So really, when she passed away in January, then it was time to go back and revisit everything that had been done in that kind of 7 month period.
When you were sending the demos back and forth to each other, was there ever a moment where you got to at least acknowledge her performance to her?
Yeah, well, that's why she would send it back, to kind of see what your thoughts were on it. So you kind of spoke about it, in the following day or two after, kind of, because as great as she was, she would still look for the advice of others to make sure, am I going the right direction here? What do you think of that? And it was just a simple thing to say, yeah, this is great, keep doing that. It was as simple as that. She just kind of looked for that sometimes. And it was great, when you listen back to it, kind of those first few listens when we started to piece the demos together, and you suddenly realize like how amazing a vocalist she was, that you have this quality of like singing on demos. Like there's singers who, release albums. A finished proper album that isn't as good as this.
Right, yeah. And I'm reminded of a story that I had read, and I think, I forget which one of you guys had recalled this story in a recent article. The very first time that Dolores sang with you guys, and sort of like auditioned, perhaps is the word, she was given a cassette of a particular song on a Sunday, and then she came back the following Sunday, and this was 1992, probably something like
1990. I'd say.
1990. Okay,
1990, yeah.
Fergal, tell that story because it's a fascinating one.
We actually had a boombox in the rehearsal space, and that's what we would record ideas on back then. Because we had no PA or anything like that. We just plug into guitar amps.
Hey, I'm a big fan of those boomboxes. Those are great, right?
Yeah. Well, we used to be breakdancers. We came from that whole hip hop era.
Yeah.
Boombox on your shoulder thing. But Dolores' microphone we plugged into a guitar keyboard amp, and she'd play her keyboard and then sing a few songs, and we kind of get a rough idea, and then we'd record the instrumental parts, and she'd take them away and come back the next week with, ideas for a song.
Yeah. And there was one song called Linger.
Linger, our very first song, yeah.
Well, she came back with a week later and kind of blew you guys away, right?
Totally, geez, yeah, we couldn't believe it.
I know that you spoke to Dolores' mother, her brother, that was a manager, and they were pretty much on board as well.
Yeah, because Dolores had been speaking about the new album. She was excited about doing new material for the first time since 2012, and they knew that. So when they heard that we wanted to finish what she'd started, they were delighted, really.
Right.
That's kind of said.
Because that's a weired thing. You have to approach it properly. You know what I mean?
Of course, you don't want to offend anyone. You don't want to be disrespectful, and that's the way we felt as well. That we had to make sure that these songs were going to be really good quality and not kind of like a half-assed attempt.
Yeah.
Milk it or something.
Right.
We wanted to make sure that they were quality songs and it was going to be a good, proper Cranberries album.
I think you guys might win a Grammy for this album. I don't know. I think it's that good, honestly.
Thank you.
So good. Tell me a funny story about Dolores, if one comes to mind.
It's funny, you start to remember a lot of the kind of things from the early days. But the thing I started remembering a lot, a lot of people obviously who wouldn't have been close to her wouldn't know about she had this great sense of humour. And it was great to go to an awards thing with her or something because she hated them. She couldn't take them serious at all. She'd play the whole part and everything, but some guy come in kind of over the top, kind of,
shocking. Somebody's like that in the music industry?
Yeah. And she just go, oh God, look at the state of this guy. Or, it was kind of just, you'd be in hysterics at her. And that's kind of, they're all the memories that come back is all those fun times with her. Because you never knew what she'd come out with. She just kind of, the filter didn't work a lot of the time, so she was like to say anything to anyone.
Right. I remember the last time you were here, you were with Dolores, and you recalled some stories of being. I think, did you guys do a gig with AC/DC or something?
That's right.
Yeah.
And she loved that. She thought that was Rolling Stones, I think, as well, right?
That's right. Yeah, and she befriended the singer from AC/DC.
Yeah.
They used to go
Brian
dinner.
Johnson.
Yeah,
from Newcastle.
They became good friends, and they used to go out to dinner together. God only knows what those conversations were like.
Oh my God, fantastic!
Yeah,
to be a fly on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, listen, guys, great to see you guys again, and I can speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure every single Cranberry fan in the world. There's probably 40 million of them at least. We're so glad that you put this out.
Thank you.
You did such a fantastic job with this. And I think it might be the best Cranberries album ever. So congrats, guys.
Thank you.
And,
cheers.
I hope to see you back here soon doing whatever. I don't care.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jonathan.
Thank you.
Remember
listening to Out of the Box on Q104.3.